Good morning. I am going to be going over some more Imagine Math concepts. I'm starting off with probability because I saw a couple of you logged onto them and trying to figure out the questions that they're asking. I helped out a parent yesterday and I noticed that some of the wording on Think Through Math can be a little tricky. So I'm here to help decipher it, and if you don't have a calculator here, let me know. There's just a matter of me going into the settings and allowing the calculator to be there. Or you can use a calculator on your phone. I know I've seen some of you have the calculator on your window in Google Chrome or whatever as you're working. I don't mind. I am just looking for you to get the practice and understand the concepts. So we're going to start off with probability. Let me go ahead and start with the new page. Don't save. So it says, analysts determined that a baseball team had a 25% chance of winning its next game. That's 1 out of 4. Okay. Which simulation could you use to answer the questions about winning the game? So a simulation is a similar experiment that you could run based off of the data that you've already given or to make a prediction. So looking right here at the coin, they want to flip a heads and they want to do that 100 times. Well, looking at the coin, we are likely to get heads 1 out of 2 times. That's 50%. And that's not what we need for this question because we're looking for 25%. So that's not it. Then it says down here, record the number of times this trial occurs 100 times, and it wants to land on a 1 or a 2. So we need to zoom in because Ms. Darling doesn't have the best eyes, and we need to see how many times a 1 or a 2 appears there. So there's 1 or 2, that's 2, and then I need the total number of spaces on here, which is 8. So over here, I'm going to come and draw, and I'm going to write 1, I'm sorry. It's not going to be 1 because there's 2 of them, 2 out of 8. Then I want to simplify that because I've always said that fractions need to be simplified, especially in probability, because it's easier to understand them and you only get answers in simplest form. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2, and then I will get 1/4. Then I also need to know how to convert this to a decimal, which is top and bottom out, or I should just know that off the top of my head, and that's 25 cents or 25%. And this is the guy that we need. The reason why this answer right here is not correct is because it says 2, and I want to roll a 2 on a number cube. That only gives me 1 out of 6, because out of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 2 only appears once. And then down here, picking a blue, again, I'm going to zoom in. I have 2 marbles that are blue, and then 4 are red. So that makes a total of 6 marbles. So then that would be 2 out of 6, which reduces to 1/3, which is 33%. And that's not going to work. Well, 33.3 repeats percent. And then this 1/6 is going to be about 0.16%. So I want to go choose the best answer, which is this guy, and click check. Then it says movie theater owner determined that 2 out of every 5 customers purchases popcorn. Which simulation could be used to answer the questions about customers purchasing popcorn? So 2 out of every 5. I need to make sense of that. 2 out of 5. As a percent or as a decimal, this would be 0.4. And as a percent, this would be 40%. So looking at a coin, that's 50% of the time flipping heads. Rolling an even number, this 2 is 50% of the time. Over here, landing on green. So I'm going to zoom in and count my green. I have 2 green out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So this looks like my winner. And then up down here, I want red. This is 50%. So all of these are 50% except for this one. I need 2 out of 5. 2 is not half of 5. So that's A school determined that there's about a 67% chance that a student will choose chocolate milk over white milk. Which simulation could you use to answer questions about the type of milk students will choose? So 67%, if I'm familiar with my benchmark fractions, I know that there's 33.3%, and then I know that there's 66.6%. This is approximately equal to 67%. So this is what I'm looking for. This is also equal to 2/3. This is what I'm looking for as well. Could be either of these answers over here. So flipping a coin, tails, is this 50%? No, I can automatically rule this one out. Down here, 1 or 2. We should remember from 2 questions ago that this was 25%. This is 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 8. Over here, rolling something greater than 2. So I need to write down my numbers on a number cube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want the numbers that are greater than 2. That's going to be these 4 numbers here. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 4 out of 6. Then I would simplify that to 2/3. There's the guy that I'm looking for. Double check down here to make sure that this is not correct either. This says picking and replacing. I want blue. How many blues are there? 2 out of 6, and that's 1/3. 2 out of 6 is 1/3, and that is actually the complement. That means that completes the whole. It makes 100%. Complement. Okay. So, this is the best answer. Choose it. Move on. Okay? That's how we answer those questions. All right, using this number cube and spinner, which simulation would help you answer this question? Over the past 50 years, records for one Northwest city show that snow fell on the first day of winter 1/6 of the time. If you choose a year at random, what are the chances that the first day of winter will be a snowy Monday? Hold on. Don't save. Okay, so I have to look at the things that they have given me here. They said the first day of winter, 1/6 of the time, there will be snow. So 1/6 of the time means it's going to be referring to the number cube because there are 6 spaces in my sample space on a number cube. And since it's talking about days, I need to know the number of days in a week, which would then represent my spinner here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 50 is a number that I also need to take into consideration because it's going to happen out of these 50 years. So how many days out of the week are Monday? 1 out of 7. And then how many days of, the overall is 1/6. So they want me to roll and spin 50 times, and then I'll roll a 3 and land on a red. So if I roll a 3 here, that's 1 out of 6. And then if I land on a red, that's 1 out of 7. If I multiply those, then I'm going to get, pencil, 1 out of 6 times 1 out of 7, I will get 1/42. That is not what I need for my answer. Oh, you know what? This is my answer, actually, because I'm not supposed to multiply. Ooh, rewind. Blah, 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 blah. Pretend that what I just said doesn't count. So I need 1/6 of the time. That is correct. That's 1/6 right here. And then it's a Monday. That is 1/7 over here. So these two are representative of the situation in 50 years. So this first one, I roll on a 3. That's 1 out of 6 times. And I can land on a red. That's 1 out of 7. This will be my winner. Let's check and see if I'm right. I overthought this completely. Yay. Alright, now they want us to do another simulation. Using a number cube and this hat with 5 different colored marbles, which simulation would help you understand or help you answer this question? During the first 70 days of school, Becca's science class does a lab experiment 2/3 of the time. The class meets Monday through Friday. So that's my 5, and then this represents my 2/3, so this would be my 6 faces over here. But remember, 2/3, I have to get complex here. So instead of simplifying, I have to make it more complex. So I want it out of 6. 2/3 is the same as, how do I get from 3 to 6? Times 2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So times 2. This would be 4 out of 6. This is the same as a proportion. 2/3 and something out of 6. X here, I'll multiply, then divide. 2 times 6 is 12. Divided by 3 is 4. Same thing. Remember, a proportion is 2 equivalent ratios, so I need 2/3 to be equal to something out of 6. So 4 is what I'm looking for. Clear this out. All right. These here where they have these multiple choices, like where it says roll 3 times and pick and replace 5 times, these are not ever going to be my answer. If it says 70, then I need to have one method, 70 and 70. Okay, so I want to roll a 5 and pick a yellow marble. What's the chance of rolling a 5? Probability of rolling 5 is 1 out of 6. So this is not going to be my answer. So then let's look over here. Roll greater than 2. So remember, we just did that earlier. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The numbers that are greater than 2 are 4 out of 6, which is what I just said I'm looking for, because that's my 2/3. And hey, scroll back up here. Boom, 2/3. This has to be my answer right here. Pick a yellow marble. That's one of the days from Monday through Friday. 1 out of 5. All right, click it. Let's check. Yay, it worked again. An amusement park manager determined that about 2/3 of all customers would wait in long lines to ride the new roller coaster. Which simulation could not be used to answer the questions about whether a customer would wait? All right, for this question, they want a non-example. So flipping heads would be 50%. That sounds like that's my answer right off rip, because 50% is, whoa, not equal to 2/3. This works so much better when I do it with my finger. But anyway, so that's the first one. And then this one over here, it says landing on green or blue. So there's 2 blue and 2 green, so that means 4. And then there's 2 that looks like a yellowish or orangish color. So it's 4 plus 2 is 6. So that's going to be 4 out of 6, which reduces to 2/3, and that checks out. So let's look at this one. Rolling less than 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I want less than 5. So that's these 4 out of 6, which is the same as this. So that checks out. And then down here, I want picking and replacing to get a red. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red, and there are 9 total. So 6 out of 9. If I simplify that, that divides by 3. Divided by 3, I get 2/3. So that one checks out as well. So I want the one that is incorrect, which is this guy right here. 50%, check. Last question. According to a survey by the park ranger, there's a 75% chance that hikers will see a deer on a park trail. Which simulation could you use to answer the questions about whether a hiker will see a deer? So let me clear off my canvas over here. And 75%, that is equal to 3 out of 4. So over here, I've got 50% for the coin. Should know that's not going to work. Over here, I've got greater than 4. So P more than 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 2 out of 6. So that's 2/3. Still not it. Not it. Over here, landing on a 6, 7, or 8. So that's 6, 7, or 8. That's 3 out of 8. And I need 3 out of 4. So nope. And then over here, picking and replacing red. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8. So 6, let me use a different color, 6 out of 8.